In tonight's Battlefield 3 tutorial, we return to the ever important idea of mastering movement. This is probably the key skill in keeping yourself alive in Battlefield 3, and in particular we're going to be looking at lane control, the idea of controlling how many angles you are exposing yourself to at any one time. Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to Mastering Movement in Battlefield 3 Part 2. Now, Mastering Movement 1 was a long time ago, and I released that probably coming up on a year ago, but the principles in there are still absolutely sound, and if you haven't seen that video, do go and check it out. There is a link in the description, and in that video I broke everything down into lots of small sections, and I talked about slicing the pie when you kind of come around a corner, the article kind of turning around and things like that. We talked about quick peeks, darting out like that, and we talked about loads and loads of different things. I think there were about kind of 8 or 9 tips in that video. But today in Mastering Movement, I just want to focus on one of them, and that is the idea of lanes. That is a phrase that Rival X Factor, who makes some excellent Battlefield tutorials, I think has coined, and it's the idea that there are certain kind of avenues of fire where you can shoot to and that you can be shot from, or to put it another way, it's the places that you expose yourself to. So for example, if I am standing here, right here, where are the lanes? Where can I be shot from? Where am I likely to be attacked from? Well, obviously I could get shot from over there, and I could get shot from over there. There's a small possibility of getting shot kind of over these things, but mainly I'm exposing myself to two lanes. Now the thing to consider is, as I start to move out, where do the next lanes become available? Because the key to staying alive in terms of our movement is to minimize the amount of lanes that we are visible from at all times, and to know which lanes are safe and which lanes are dangerous. So for example, if there was a friendly teammate standing right there, I can decide that that is a safe lane and I can turn my back to it. That's not a problem. And as I come out, I need to know where the lanes are going to be that I need to be wary of. So for example, I could do this by kind of major lanes, and then I can break it down into minor lanes. But this is where map knowledge comes in so important. So I could get someone over there. Unlikely, but it does happen. I could get someone over in the stairs area. There's my second major lane. I've got the door, my third major lane, and maybe round here, but to be honest, if I'm kind of coming out there, the main two ones I consider are the stairs and the door. They're the two lanes that I am exposing myself to. But of course, then we can break that into minor lanes, because there's that area up on the landing there, someone could be ducked. There's downstairs, maybe someone's going to be head glitching. There's the area up here, maybe someone behind the plant, maybe someone standing up on the sofa up there. So you can break the lanes down, but the point is, I know where they are. I've played the map before, and as I'm kind of peeking out here, whether I'm doing a little quick peek or whether I'm kind of slicing the pie, I know which lanes I am available to. And that's why standing in a position like this out in the middle is just such a crazy idea, and leads to new players getting shot so much. Because think of it from a lane point of view, you could get shot from there, 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 from there. I mean, it's just crazy. Oh, and I haven't even finished when I've got over here. You could even get people kind of standing behind you if they kind of ran around the back. I mean, I guess you'd almost call this like Spaghetti Junction or a motorway, but that's why standing out in the open is so dangerous, because there are so many places that people can shoot you from. And what I want to do in this video is show you some gameplay footage of myself, and discuss as I go through how I am handling this idea of lanes, how I'm constantly trying to minimize the lanes that I am viewable from, and how I'm trying to control the lanes that I'm able to target. So let's head over to a spot of TDM. So our goal here is to stay alive by minimizing our lane exposure and always being aware of where we are being exposed to. Now I'm going down the edge of a map. Now an edge of a map is always useful, because right behind me on my 6 o'clock is the edge of the map. I know that that is a safe lane. I also know that there was a bloke on my right, a friendly bloke on my right, so I know that that lane is clear. And you'll see I'm always kind of facing towards the unknown lanes, and right there I know that there was a a vulnerability straight in front, which is why I'm facing that way. Now, always, if you do take a few bullets, it does happen, and of course, if you're assault, the good news is you've got health. Don't re-peak too soon. I mean, look at my health there. I went down to something like 32%. I mean, if I peek out 2 seconds later without getting my health back, he'll kill me. If he gets the same shot again, he will kill me. So take the time to let your health get back to 100%. Now, watch carefully as we go out here. We are letting ourselves. We're checking each lane as we go. I checked behind the building to the left, and then I checked and realised that there was actually some guy on the roof, and actually I'm too vulnerable. This is a too dangerous lane. Therefore, I'm going to swap over. I'm going to move over to a building that I can see is safe on the mini-map, and therefore change, approach from a different lane. And look at this. How about this? Let's go through a small little area like this. If you're going through a small little tunnel like this, that's brilliant in terms of lane control, because you've basically got in front of you and behind you, but the more then I poke myself out forwards, the more then I'm going to be vulnerable. Because right now, in this position, I can get shot from in front and from to the hard right, and then from behind right as well. But by carefully checking each lane as I go, I know I'm going to be pretty safe. Now, I'm using the mini-map here. I know that this is where the enemy is, and I'm going to do my best to try and flank them from the side. Like I've said in my tutorials on movement and on suppression weapons, if you can flank or back rage people, you will get huge amounts of kills, and even beyond that, protect yourself, because people will be facing the other way. Remember, the red triangles on the maps are not red circles, they are red triangles, i.e. you can see which way they are facing, as well as their position. Now here, I made a rookie mistake there. I was so keen on getting the kill that I exposed myself, exposed my back. The back lane wasn't safe, and I got shot. Luckily, there was a nice person there to revive me, and I'm able to fight just a little bit longer. Now, another little mistake there when talking about movement, I was moving forward as I was shooting that guy there. Remember, I've done tutorials on bullet spread, and when you move, your bullet spread increases drastically and your accuracy goes down. I probably would have got him on the first couple of bursts there if I wasn't moving, but I didn't. I then had to stop and fire it again. And eventually there I got killed because I made another movement mistake, and that was there was no reason for me to go forward there. I saw the guy in front of me, I shot him, and as I was shooting him I was kind of pushing forward, always going with that kind of like, approach, advanced charge type feeling, but actually that was what got me killed. If I had held back, taken the kill, I'd still have got the same kill and waited for those other guys to come to me, I would probably have still been alive. Now, when approaching a building such as this, try and avoid the obvious entrances, the ones that they're going to have covered, the ones they're going to be shooting out of. And as buildings get destroyed, you will always find they'll open up other entrances, just like there where I kind of hopped through the wall. I was able to get a quick kill on someone who was facing the other way, and then sadly I got caught out by someone that was carefully hiding in the shadow. So I was completely outplayed by that guy. But I still, if he wasn't looking that way, I actually would have flanked the guy on the left, and then possibly flanked the guys on the other side of me again. Now, I wouldn't always recommend doing this, but if you have been killed by some guy in the past, if you can get back to them fairly quickly and safely, remember, don't assume the battlefield hasn't changed, then you can do what I did there, and you can go and kind of take him out by using a kind of quick peek technique. If you're not sure what quick peek is, you can check my other movement tutorial, but essentially it's the idea of looking down the scope and then strafing out, but kind of looking towards your target before you strafe out, so you can essentially start firing as you kind of come round. And you're absolutely in position to fire. Now, a note here: I didn't just run straight down towards this kind of corridor here. I knew that was the way I wanted to go, but I then went to the side. I covered myself until I absolutely had to come out, and then I then moved down that corridor. And then always checking the mini-map, because that's an important part of movement, realised that actually there were then people behind me, and circled back. And remember, of course, you can go out of bounds for 10 seconds, which can be a very useful way of getting flanks and back rages, and hopefully I'll show you some examples of that in future videos. Sadly then got caught out, but you can't be perfect all the time. You can't survive all the time. My goal is always to try and do more good in a life than in bad. And if you play kind of slowly and carefully, protecting your exposure for lanes, then hopefully that will be the case. Note there, when taking those shots, I didn't just stand out in the open. I'm trying to keep my body covered, half covered, three-quarters covered, or just trying to poke the head out, only moving forward when I think that I'm safe. Again here, I didn't approach where the main battle's going on, always trying to come in from the back and the side. Now, often you'll get some lovely little assault guy that will come in and start trying to undo all of your handiwork by reviving everyone. And if you hear that happening or see that happening, you can hear that little bleep sometimes. You actually can use this to get extra kills, extra points for your team, because if he's got his paddles out, that means he hasn't got his gun out, and you can come back in, shoot the guy with the paddles out, but make sure you don't forget the guy on the ground, because if he has managed to revive them, they are now a threat again. Now note there, I saw an enemy in front of me, and so I immediately, while I was running, went straight round to the right to cover myself. If you see someone firing towards you, for goodness sake, don't keep running towards them. Get yourself behind cover and approach them from an angle that you have control of. Again here, I'm very much hugging the walls, checking every single entrance as I go past, looking into the alcoves in case there was someone hiding in there. Remember, there was that player we found before hiding in the shadows. This is clearly something that they're trying to, an area that they are trying to defend. Check the high spots as well, because remember, they are lanes as well. I mean, we talked about major lanes and minor lanes earlier. Always kind of look in the places where they're most likely to be first, but then don't forget to if you think the players are being sneaky, don't forget to check the minor ones as well. Look at the careful use of lanes there. I went down the left-hand side of those big kind of boiler canisters. By doing that, I actually had cover on both sides and was able to kind of get to the end there in relative safety. I got sniped, but at least I got sniped from a direction that I knew I was vulnerable from, which was straight ahead, I think it was. Now, this area in front of me is an area where I often pick up kills. Not necessarily this exact place, but areas like this, where you've got the side of a big flat building, and people will run along it because they want to approach the battle from a different angle. But it can be very dangerous because people tend to sprint down it because you want to get there as quickly as possible. But if someone peeks out that corner while you are sprinting, you're dead because your gun isn't facing. So where possible, I tend to avoid running down the outside of the buildings and often kind of sneak through inside the buildings and then kind of come out again like this. So I only really put myself in a dangerous situation for the minimum amount of time. It doesn't always work, and of course, if the more players there around, the safer you are. Some of those kind of outsides of buildings will have little things that you can get cover behind, and if that's the case, so let's say you are running down the edge of a building and on one side there is a large barrel, why don't you run down with the barrel in front of you? Because if that case, if someone does peek around that corner or quick peek around the corner, you have got a little bit of cover between them and you. Running across a big open space puts you in a very, very vulnerable situation. So running through these kind of little alcoves like I'm doing here means that I'm covered now from my right hand lane, my left hand lane, behind lane. It does give you you're far less likely to have those deaths where you're just standing there and all of a sudden the screen goes blank and you die, because those are the deaths where you know you haven't properly protected yourself. Now, last little tip for today, which is directly related to this idea of movement, and especially quick peeking and slicing the pie. Before you start peeking out somewhere over to where you think the enemy might be, chuck down a health pack. In fact, even if you don't think they're there, if you're going to peek it, chuck down a health pack, because the health pack won't appear on their mini-map. Only friendly health packs and ammo packs appear on mini-maps, and it could make the difference between you taking 3 bullets and dying or 3 bullets and surviving, because often people fire in bursts, as they absolutely should. But if your health has started coming back after that first burst, as that second burst comes in, you might just have enough health to survive, and certainly enough health to get yourself back behind cover. And once you're behind cover, you've already got the health pack back out, so hopefully you will survive. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of TDM footage and discussion of lanes. You'll see my final score there is 23 kills to 5 deaths. And the majority of that was not done with accuracy or amazing gun control. It was done with movement, putting myself in positions where I was safe, but they were vulnerable. Now, lanes will take a huge amount of knowledge of maps. And obviously with Battlefield 4 coming out, there will have to be a period of time where people start to learn the new maps, learn the lanes, learn the positions where people can stand, and that's absolutely fine. That's going to be expected. But it is absolutely worth doing, and as you move around the battlefield, constantly thinking to yourself, which lanes can see me, which lanes can't, which lanes are dangerous, which lanes are safe, and hopefully you'll see your deaths coming down and your kills going up. If you've enjoyed the video or found it useful, then please give the video a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then please do so, because I've got loads of Battlefield 3 and in the future of course Battlefield 4 tips that I would like to share with you. Thank you very much to Rival X Factor for this idea of lanes, and thank you for watching. Take care, see you soon, bye bye.